G'day YouTube viewer, g'day bikers. A very quick video today. I'm taking the KLX230S from Kawasaki in for its first service, 1,000 kilometres. It's taken me a little bit longer to reach that than I expected, but then I've been out doing things like the bridle track on the DR650 and some rides with friends on my larger bike, so I haven't been able to ride it as much as I wanted. But now that it's run in, it will go out on some dirt tracks and trails very soon, and is now ready for Riding Hood to start her lessons of riding a dirt bike with gears. I'm not expecting any problems. There have been no issues at all. It's been as reliable as I expected. This bike is a Kawasaki, but it is made in Indonesia, but the fit and finish looks really good, and the reliability seems to be there so far. So let's find out. I'm also hoping to get some footage of a DRZ-4S or DRZ-4S, depending where you're from, compared to the DR-Z400 or DRZ-400. And I understand they still have a KLX230S and a KLX300 in the showroom. The 300 has only just become available in Australia. It's been on sale in the US for many years. It is liquid cooled, where the KLX230S is air cooled, and I tend to gravitate towards air cooled bikes. But if I hadn't bought this to help teach Riding Hood how to ride a dirt bike, I may have been tempted to go for the 300 just because it has a little bit more power, but it has a much higher seat height, and being liquid cooled, I tend not to like that so much off-road, mainly because there's more to go wrong. So you can get a stake through the radiator. If you drop the bike, you can damage the radiator. With an air-cooled bike, if you drop it and something gets damaged, it probably won't hinder you from getting home. And so that's why I tend to go towards simplicity in a dirt bike. And also I love the nature of an air-cooled motor. So my smaller bikes tend to be that way, along with my Harley-Davidson Heritage Softail Classic, which is a big air-cooled motor, of course, 1860cc, something like that. And I love the old school nature of that bike. But for my road bikes and my adventure bike, I'm very happy to have a liquid cooled engine. Anyway, we're riding into Great Southern Motorcycles. Let's go in and see what happens. Alright, the bike's booked in. I thought we'll just do a little quick walk through the showroom. I've only did one a few weeks ago, so not much probably has changed. But I thought you might be interested in seeing a couple of bikes I've got sitting next to each other. First up, we've got the DRZ or DRZ-4S, the new model, and also the DR-Z400 or DRZ-400. And it's really interesting to see them so close. At a glance, you probably don't realise how different they are, even though it's pretty much the same engine as before. But the DR-Z4S has definitely got more technology, as well as fuel injection. I think if I was in the market and was going to buy one of these two, I'd probably go with the DR-Z400 because of the value proposition. In my heart, I'm still finding it hard to justify the price of the DRZ or DRZ-4S. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the future, i.e. how long the DRZ-400 or DRZ-400 is available new on the market in Australia, and whether the price eventually comes down at all on the DRZ-4S. As always, I'd be interested to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. I also love the debate we often get here. This is a biking community. YouTube provides an opportunity for us to interact, and nothing gives me more pleasure than seeing that, especially the good nature that is prevalent here. And the other thing I was keen to see was the KLX230S parked right next to a KLX300. And here you can see the size difference between the two, and also the greatest seat height, suspension travel, ground clearance, things like that. And the liquid cooling is very obvious once you see the two bikes next to each other. Although at a glance from side on, if you walked up to a KLX300, you might not initially see that it is water cooled until you walk around to the front. And I think Kawasaki have done a really good job in designing the bike. Again, would love to hear your thoughts. Which one would you go for if you're in the market to a small to medium capacity dual sport? Obviously the 300 is a lot more capable in the dirt, but the 230 is a lot more capable than many give it credit for. And both bikes also give an interesting choice or an option for those considering maybe a Honda CRF 300L or a 300 Rally. We still haven't got the model with the updated suspension in Australia, which I may have considered if it was available when I bought the KLX230S. Alright, servicing done. As I expected, there were no issues at all. I got the bike back in just under 2 hours. The service included all the checks. They installed a new sump washer, put in new oil and an oil filter, and the biggest cost, as always with a simple service like this, was the labour, and it came out to around $300. So comparing that to other currencies, in the US that'd be about $200, it'd be around 205 UK pounds, 180 euros or $290 Canadian. So now the bike is ready to really get off-road and for me to start exploring on lighter trails and teaching Riding Hood how to handle dirt. If you thought this video was okay, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already and would like to be alerted to future videos I post as soon as they go live, please consider subscribing to the channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening, and until next time, happy motorcycling.